retired Coast Guard Master Chief, am I correct?
Yes.
Retired Master Chief?
No, Chief.
Retired Chief, excuse me. Retired Chief for you Army folks and Marine Corps folks, it's E7. And I'm going to let him, because he knows this better than anybody, I'm going to kick it off to him.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I absolutely did not expect any of this. But I want to preface first, I am not a public speaker. I am just a suicide squad. So we'll start from there. So excuse if I tear up or have to turn around. It's actually been a very emotional day for me. So here I was, a little rugrat in Weaver, Alabama. My dad was a 30-year Marine stationed at Fort McClellan in the chemical school. He was special reactions instructor. You know, after 30 years, and I understood what the military provided for my family. A roof over my head, food on the table, and a stable place to go to school. So I thoroughly appreciated that. I was apparently very good at basketball. I got a college scholarship at a local Gaston State University. I sat the bench for a year and I was like, what am I doing? I'm not going to the NBA, so I'm just gonna. And I wasn't ready for college at all. So I called all the services, and the Coast Guard was the one that sent me a bus ticket the next day with a hotel voucher to take the ASVAB again at MEPS. And then about 2.5 weeks later, I was in Cape May, New Jersey. So that was pretty wild that it happened that fast. From there, I went to dental technician school where I was stationed in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. After 2 years, I got tired of that. I went to telecommunications school in California, ended up in the Hamptons of Long Island as a search and rescue telecommunications communicator for 6 years, and that was probably the best part. The Hamptons of Long Island, you know, rich people, the summers were amazing there. So from there, I made E6. I went from E4 to E6 there, and then I had the opportunity to volunteer to go overseas to Iraq for a year. Absolutely wanted to do it, and that's the beauty of the Coast Guard. Every Coast Guard member that's over there, it's all volunteer. Nobody's ever forced to go there from the Coast Guard if they don't want to. From Iraq, I went to the Washington, D.C. I was a staff NCO for the Coast Guard Honor Guard, the toy soldiers, the ones that look pretty in uniform. So I was there for 4 years, basically a babysitter for E1s to E3s as they navigate everything that they already know about the Coast Guard. We don't know anything, you know. So I did that, and then from there I went to Alaska, and that was the last 13 years. I was there as a search and rescue controller. Basically, I was in charge for 12-hour watches for all of Alaska into Russian waters down to Guam. That was our area of responsibility for search and rescue, and marine spills and a whole bunch of things. And that's where most of my cases that were non-successes. Just to give a little insight on how long it takes from an initial call to get, everybody knows, like Deadliest Catch, you know, those boats in Dutch Harbor that go up and do all that. If something were to happen to one of those boats, we're mandated to respond, launch within 30 minutes. We do that, but it takes 3 hours to get to Dutch Harbor, and then you gotta stop and refuel the 2 helos that we have, the 60s, and then out to the ocean for probably another 3 hours of where the boat is. And then now they only have about 2 hours on scene time before they got to come back and refuel and things like that. So from the initial call, we're talking 7-8 hours before a Coast Guard asset is even on scene, eyes on. That's how wide our AOR is. So, you know, I experienced a lot of cases. I experienced a lot of, you know, talking on the radio to normal boaters and professional fishermen. You know, they're going down. They're taking on water, or somebody fell overboard and they can't find them. And you know, I'm dealing with those SAR cases on a daily basis. Us in the command centers, we never had the opportunity to basically release that, you know, the anxiety and the stress of that because we go to the next SAR case. It's just always the next SAR case. We're always busy up there. And, you know, after, you know, my 13 years there, I just said enough is enough. I retired. I moved back to Alabama and bought a great house, in-ground pool. First year was great. I was like, man, retirement is amazing. I can't believe I don't have to work anymore. And then, you know, all my projects were done in the house. And then it was like a perfect storm. My kids went up to Ohio to visit Megan's family, and I was in the house alone. And then all the SAR cases came back to me that were not a success. All the women that are crying on the radio because, you know, they see their husband in the ocean and things like that. It was I didn't think it affected me at the time, but you know, I went through a 72-hour period where I got 2 hours of sleep, and you know, sleep deprivation is can really mess with you. And you know, I was literally like up in my bed, you know, looking up and just you know, screaming out to God, you know, I just want to sleep, I just want to sleep. I wanted to just turn this stuff off in my head, and I just couldn't. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm gonna be frank. I got my gun, I laid it in bed, and I was just, you know, I knew at some point that night I was gonna pull the trigger, and it got to that point, but my dog jumped on my chest, and he's a big Bernese Mountain Dog, so there's, you know, big fur dogs. And he would not get off, and I fell asleep, and then I came to, you know, about 4 or 5 hours later, and he was right next to me, between me and his gun, you know, on the other side of the bed. And, you know, and then I was just like, you know, I didn't really think about it at that time. You know, 2 days later, I went to my primary care manager. I wrote everything down because I knew I was not going to be able to look at her in the face and be able to talk. And it happened. I was at floodgates. She looked at the letter, and then she closed the door, and we talked for 30, 45 minutes, and she's like, one, she was worried about me. She was seriously concerned, and she asked if I wanted to be put in a committee, and I said, absolutely not. And she's like, okay. So she gave me sleep pills, immediately called in referrals for therapy and a psychiatrist, and when I called the psychiatrist the other day, it was almost a 6-month wait. It was 5 months and something just to get my first appointment, just to talk to somebody to start the process of getting me on some type of medication, or I'm not having these suicidal thoughts. And then I was just so distraught. I was so distraught. The next day I went back to the doctor. I was like, Doc, what am I supposed to do? I can't turn these thoughts off. And she was like, the only thing I can do right now is give you more sleep pills, and hopefully, you know, the sleep helps with the thoughts. And, you know, I mean, for almost 4.5 months, it was a daily thing. How am I going to kill myself today? I would literally wake up, and the first thoughts in my head were, okay, what am I going to do to kill myself today? Then I would start laughing. After a while, I just got a joke. Because I knew I wasn't going to do it, but the thoughts were in my head, and I just didn't understand why. And I still don't understand why. After 28 years, why now, you know? And, so, you know, thank God I did my due diligence, and about a month later I was able to get into therapy online and through TRICARE, and so that helps a lot, just to be able to talk and get some stuff out. And then I was able to get to see the psychiatrist, and within a month we had the medication just right where I have no more suicidal thoughts and all that. But which brings me to why I'm doing this. You know, I was very distraught, and I could have easily gone down another rabbit hole when I tried to make my appointment with the psychiatrist, and it was almost 6 months. And I just like, this is not right. It's not right. So I am walking across America to bring information, awareness, and hope to others that are struggling with mental health issues, that there are services out there that are absolutely completely free to military veterans. Give an Hour is one of my main sponsors, and the Cohen Foundation and the Coast Guard Foundation also. You can call different numbers, you can go online, and you will literally get a live therapist that will talk to you. With Give an Hour, you can sign up and you get a free hour of therapy a week. It's in group settings online, but it's therapy, you know, and it's free for military veterans. And I just feel like if there are veterans out there that have gotten out before retirement age and they don't have much money or insurance, you know, they don't even think to look for free services because they're already distraught that nobody's going to help me, I don't have any money. So I'm bringing awareness to other programs out there that will help you. And then we're segueing into my AAL2LA foundation. My foundation is going to be working with the Coast Guard Foundation. We're going to be creating a curriculum for members that are getting out of the military so that they have all of the information about free services, VA numbers, and all that. And that it's going to be an education thing that goes along with their TAPS course, along with a education portion for spouses and dependents, so that they can be informed of what their member is going to go through during their transition period out of the military, because it's so hard. You know, you're somebody in uniform and then the next day you're nothing without a uniform, so you lose your identity, and it really messes with the brain of the member that just got out. So we want to create a packet where it gives education to the spouses and dependents so that they can help with that transition and not make it seem like it's, a lot of times the dependents or spouses think it's them and they don't want to be with them anymore, and it's not. It's just the transition part of life that is very hard for a lot of veterans. So my AL2LA foundation is when a military member goes through a psychosis period or suicidal attempt or severe depression, they can contact my foundation and I will pay for their psychiatry or therapy appointment, the first one. Our foundation will pay for it outright so that they don't have to wait. We're going to create agreements with therapists and psychiatrists within the state of Alabama right now, and then hopefully we're going to make it go global. So that military veterans within a 72-hour period, they get seen, period, no questions asked. And I feel like what that's going to do is that's going to let the veteran know, okay, somebody's listening and somebody cares. And not this, hey, sorry, you're 5 months out. Good luck. No, we don't want to do that. I want to be there and help them get that initial and then guide them to avenue. Maybe they didn't like that therapist and try another one, you know, and create a relationship with somebody and then help them, guide them to get better, you know, with the year process, you know, of checking in on them and if they need anything and all that. So that's my vision. I hope it becomes to, you know, fruition, and you know, I just felt like for me to be heard, I had to do something extreme. So I just blurted it out on Facebook. I'm gonna walk across America without even thinking what that meant. And then you know, and then Megan came home because she came back from Ohio and she's like, "You're gonna do what?" You know, I didn't even tell her, so she's a little mad, but she'll get over it. But she sees all the good. She sees the humanity, and I hope on my Facebook page and the website, I'm capturing what America really is, and it's compassion. You know, it's humanity. It's not what you see on TV, on the news. I have not met one single negative person, but you know, maybe, I don't know, they see the card, they see the free hugs, and they probably think I'm a little crazy, but you know, like, it's things like this, you guys coming together to a complete stranger that, you know, I am absolutely completely touched, you know. So. Because, you know, like, in this world, it's almost like eat or be eaten. But it takes a village. It takes a village. We're in this world together, and we've got to just make it the best we can for our little short time we have on this earth. And that's it. And I just want to spread hope and, you know, faith that there is a God up there. Oh yeah, that's what I want to say to you. I fully believe that God had Bo jump on my chest and keep me pinned down. And I'm gonna miss that guy when he passes away. But yeah, thank you.